Bonjour, Arnaud.
Hi, Thorsten.
We're at the PowerShell Conference in Vienna. You're one of the delegates, and rumors say that the people from France are not so interested in PowerShell. You prove we're wrong. What's your experience with PowerShell? How do you like the conference so far?
So, to answer your first question about my experience with PowerShell, I started PowerShell in 2005, where it's at that time called Monad.
Yeah.
And I decided to create the first French PowerShell community at that time because I thought it was a so huge change in the IT administration world that I wanted to spread the word and say and explain how it works and how PowerShell is great.
So, hello, Ben.
Hey, Thorsten, how are you?
Fine. We have a guy from down under. How does it come that you're at the PowerShell conference in Europe?
Because I love pain. There was a 26-hour flight, but I would only do it for this conference. The PowerShell conference in Europe is the best conference I've ever been to. I will continue coming as long as you guys keep putting it on. That's why I'm here.
You're welcome. In terms of climate crisis and stuff like that, we mustn't talk about that, but I think we enjoy that here. You've been here before. You have been to Hanover. You already mentioned that. If you compare from the perspective of from Australia, is there a huge difference between a city like Hanover and the beautiful city of Vienna?
Yeah, I think just being able to leave the conference and go for a walk and just be in the city was amazing. Hanover felt like it was a little bit out of the way. So Vienna's been a really nice place to just see. Yeah.
Despite the fact that you say PowerShell Conference is the best conference in the world, okay, we like to hear that. But what about the PowerShell community in Australia? I think there are also people who enjoy that shell and the technology. Are you busy there? Is there anything comparable, if not that great?
Right now, I don't think there is. Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but David O'Brien used to run a user group in Melbourne. It was amazing, just PowerShell, and that was really fun. But that's not happening at the moment. We don't have a big conference for PowerShell in Australia yet. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to try and start something up like that.
Is that an announcement?
No, it's not an announcement. Not yet. Who knows? Who knows what the future will bring? But yeah, so I mean, really, it's difficult for us to get this sort of content. So having a conference like this, it kind of doesn't matter where it is. I'm going to be here for it because I want to, meet people in the community. I've made a lot of friends at this conference. Back in 2019 was my first one. I went to Singapore a couple of times for PSConf Asia. So yeah, I'll go where the conference is.
Yeah. I know that this is a tough question, but if you would be forced to compare a conference in Asia, maybe the conference in the United States, the conference here in Europe, in polite words, there are notable differences?
It's primarily the scope of content, obviously, because we're so hyper focused on PowerShell, but also the active involvement in when a demo doesn't work. Everyone in the crowd can help you, and they do help you. They actively say, "Oh, you missed a thing here." So there's a lot more participation and just excitement about. Even if something doesn't work, we can figure it out because, that's what you can do with PowerShell.
But that creates some pressure, right?
A little bit, yes.
If you compare the people that you meet on conferences like this, I personally always tend to feel that the PowerShell people are a little bit different. They're still IT people, tech people. But what do you think about the people here? Are they friendly? Are they open-minded? What about all the characters from all over Europe?
That's a tough question to answer. I do also some PowerShell training, so I know the people. But here, I think people is open-minded and they are open to share their knowledge and get new knowledge from different people from various fields, if I say that. So no, I think people is great, and it's so good to be here physically. I mean, after the COVID period we had and we went through. So I'm really glad to be here and to participate to this event.
Hello, Michael. Welcome to Vienna.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You're one of the sponsors here of the PowerShell Conference Europe. How is it like? 4 days, I think it was a little bit stressful, sometimes a little bit boring all the time at the booth, but there are many people that pass by. What was your opinion of the conference so far?
So definitely not any boring time or minutes. So it was really a huge community and all the PowerShell geeks. So it was nice to be here all the 4 days. And of course, as a sponsor, yeah, it was a good 4 days.
Let's be serious for just 1 minute. PowerShell is, to me, it's empowering people. So they should automate yourself. You sell a product that, tell us about it, that do the automation. Tell us a little bit about what you're advertising here.
So Automator is a web frontend to delegate your automation. So you write your PowerShell script, your Azure automation runbooks, and Automator can be used to build nice forms with questions and to delegate those forms to your users, to your departments or whatever. So that's the main thing. And of course, everyone who loves PowerShell, you can do whatever you like.
It broadens the experience, right? So there is plenty of room for solutions just like this, right?
Yeah.
I don't ask you what was your favorite talk, because I think that being at a conference is always the same. If you are here for the sponsorship or if you're here as a speaker, you rarely find the time. But what are the topics that you're personally most interested in? Maybe some people that pass by at the booth. What are the topics that you learned these days?
So my favorite in the last month is the Microsoft Graph API and to work with the Graph API. I'm also doing sessions and talks about the Graph API. So I can recommend everyone to take a look at the Graph API. There has been 2 or 3 sessions already. So see the recordings and see what the Graph API is capable of.
And to be honest, we make a living of it. That's true for me. That's true for you. And some people are a little bit stressed. They say PowerShell is the big thing. Many people changed these days. I personally tend to say, I don't care about PowerShell. I do Python. I do whatsoever. But I need an automation solution. So what's your point of view? Your company relies on PowerShell as a back end. How do you see the future of PowerShell?
Bright as always. So PowerShell is here since 15 years right now?
Yes.
Yeah, 15 years. You can do everything, but you work in the IT, in the infrastructure, in every department. You can use PowerShell and to make your life so much easier. And it is not development. It is not, you need not to be a dev. It's scripting and it's easy to learn. So everyone needs to start PowerShell.
Great. What I always spoke, PowerShell is a new notepad. And I'm not kidding. PowerShell is for everyone, right?
Yes. Definitely, yeah.
Exactly. I know that from your work that you heavily focus on that modern stuff, Intune management, something like that. It's obvious that I have the question to ask you. What is the future of PowerShell? Do we reach out to the customers with all that modern stuff, or are we simply getting more and more into that kind of niche?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the moment, especially with PowerShell 7, that it's become sort of, I mean, who knows what the future will bring, but it feels like it's sort of finally mature, and everything we're getting now is just like slight improvements. But I don't feel like there's going to be a massive change. I mean, it'd be exciting if it did, but it just sort of works. And especially with 7 working on almost any device, it just means that now you can have that skill set and use it anywhere. So I think as far as the IT admin goes, it's just become the thing. It's your tool bag. You use PowerShell. So, yeah.
If I remember the keynote, we heard again a little kind of quote from the Monad Manifesto from the very, very beginnings. And the one term that kept in my mind was simplicity. PowerShell has been a tool, intended to be a tool, focusing on simplicity and focusing on operations, focusing on administrators, and which also implies that PowerShell shouldn't be a tool exclusively for developers. But am I wrong if I say it changed a lot? PowerShell heavily, the people in the PowerShell universe are very often a mix of developing guys, scripting guys, automation guys. What's your point of view in terms of simplicity? Is it simple enough?
I think it's pretty simple. Obviously, the tool building side of things, it's as simple as you make it. But using the product, I think, especially with Windows Terminal becoming such a great product, there's actually a lot more people in the broader space of IT that maybe never used PowerShell before. But now that Windows Terminal exists and they can open it and they can start playing around with it, it's made it a lot easier to get into. I think a lot of the autocomplete, like line read stuff, has made it even easier and simpler to get started.
Now that you mentioned the Windows Terminal, I have to ask you, what about Visual Studio Code? To make it a little bit easier to answer, I'm not the biggest fan of Visual Studio Code. And how about you?
I love it. Absolutely love it. When I had to change my workflows from only being in Visual Studio Code to more like Visual Studio stuff, I really felt the slowness. So Visual Studio 2022 is amazing, but yeah, I love VS Code. And so my normal workflow when I'm developing PowerShell things is VS Code on one window, the terminal on another, and then I just sort of back and forth between the two. So I still use the terminal in VS Code, but it's nice to have another environment to like validate outside of your sort of IDE. Yeah.
And in terms of simplicity?
VS Code is as simple as you want it to be. I think there's a very easy way to just get started with that. I love that it's free. The extensions are amazing. My favorite extension is the REST client extension. Just incredible. So yes, I think it's very simple to get started using that, and I love it. So that's interesting that you don't.
Traveling, that's a bit harsh, but anyhow, traveling from down under, you are the one who has a wish free. What would be your perfect city for the next best European PowerShell conference? Where do you want to go to?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, I mean, Austria is amazing. After this conference, I'm going to Switzerland. Maybe Switzerland. I've never been there before. I will in a couple of days, but I hear it's amazing. I hear it's very expensive. But maybe Switzerland, or even Sweden. I've been to Sweden a couple of times. I absolutely love it there. Maybe we could do that.
So, yeah, Ben, thank you. It's great that we're having you here, and I hope we will meet next year. Yeah, maybe Switzerland. We will see.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You being located in France is especially interesting for me because France is such a huge country, and we've been so often to Germanic countries, 4 times in Hanover, 1 time in Vienna. So it's obvious to ask, would you enjoy a conference in France? Do you think there is an audience for that? Because you have experience with your PowerShell community. And second question, you might answer them both. If not in France, what would be the perfect place that you would like to be in 2023 or 2024?
To answer your first question, I think there is definitely an interest in France to an event like this. Yeah. And I would be very interested in organizing it if I can help the organization. I live in close to Bordeaux in France, so it's southwest. So it could be a nice place to be to host the next conference, or we could also go close to the Arcachon Bay. The city name is Arcachon, and there is a big conference center over there, and it's really close to the sea, so that would be a very good place also to be there.
I do like your answer in terms of you are confident that there is a broad audience in France. And do you think that people in France, the IT scene, the IT professional in France are totally different from the scene in Germany or in Sweden or whatsoever, just people fiddling around with code?
No, I think they are same, but they don't speak the same language, but everybody has the same problematics, if you see what I mean. So to answer your second question, if the next PowerShell conference is not hosted in France, I would like it to be hosted in Italy, let's say, because I don't know Italy very, very well. So I would be very interested to go there for the conference.
I tend to say we're here for the beer, or in your case, we're here for the wine. And nobody's listening to us, so we can speak openly that technique is fine, but the socializing, the gathering, the event, see people in the evening at a pub, at a restaurant, this is the one thing that you can't do remote. So Arnaud, enjoy your time in Vienna, and maybe we see us next year in whatsoever. I would like to go to Bordeaux. Why not?
Okay, sure. You can count on me. And next year, I'll be attend the next conference for sure.
Oh, wow. Where are you from exactly?
Upper Austria, Bad Hall, but don't think so much people will notice. It's in the near of Linz and the near of the German border in Upper Austria. Yeah, so 2.5 hours away from Vienna.
Yeah, but if you have a wish free, where would you like to be next year?
Maybe a town where I haven't been before, and this is Rome in Italy. Okay. So maybe sunny Rome, Italy next year. We will see.
Okay. Dankeschön, Michael. Servus. And I hope to see you next year in Rome, Italy, or anywhere, no matter how. The only thing that is important, stay healthy, and we should get rid of the coronavirus so that we can meet again in 2023. So, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. Bye. Servus.